I'm stumped. I just saw a film that I forgot was out. It says 2016, but it came out over here 2018. It's been in the talks for the whole decade. Remake of a foreign film. I was just scrolling through Hulu, see what's on there, happened to see it. I thought, why not check it out? That'll be a guaranteed rant, I'm pretty sure. It is the 2016, 18, whatever you want to call it, American remake of the French extreme horror film Inside. Well, this is the American version. It is a remake of this film, which I reviewed for the month of December, for the Room 237's first month of Ho Ho Horror. Now, when it comes to extreme horror, like, yes, I do like this film. I do like the French films. Inside, Martyrs, High Tension, even though I don't like the twist. This would be my favorite French film. I do like Irreversible. More of a drama or a thriller, but I like Irreversible. You know, I even can say I like, as much as I can, a Serbian film. You know, I like the idea of extreme horror, but that said, I think the French films have the best stories and are usually the best made. This one would be my favorite because it's a simple home invasion movie. It's The Strangers on Christmas, where the only resident is a pregnant woman, the eve of her due date, and this mysterious woman wants her baby before it's born. She's going to take it. And all ways of hope is shattered. This film is not much different. I mean, I have not yet seen Martyrs, the American remake. I've heard things. I've heard it is absolutely... I've seen clips. It's not the same film. This, I was thinking, okay, it's either going to be a really watered-down version, or it's going to be a very pitiful attempt. Because have we ever had a successful American remake of a foreign horror film? People can argue The Ring and The Grudge. I never liked those movies. I always thought they were overrated. I actually hate The Ring. I can actually say I hate The Ring. I'm tired of hearing about it. Quarantine, I like. Let Me In has its moments. But I mean, any other American remake I can think of has not been that good. Usually we ruin it. This is a good movie. And when you compare it to something like Martyrs or a Serbian film or Human Centipede, the face value, it's not that extreme. But when you consider like the emotional trauma that this woman goes through just through the course of a night, how psychotic this woman is, and just how bloody and gruesome this movie can be, it fits the extreme. So why am I mostly talking about this film when the review is on the remake? Well, because like any other American remake of a foreign film, it crams all the important stuff right off the bat. I mean, This film is kind of a slow burn. It takes a while for things to actually get going, probably a half hour or so. Within the first 10 minutes of this film, we get the first knock on the door. Now, it was directed by Miguel Angel Vivas. Forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the same Bermejo fan. No. Oh, okay. Different. Never mind. I saw someone named Bermejo had died, and I was seeing if it was the same Bermejo, Lee Bermejo. But this Bermejo did do DC stuff. So this guy has directed a film called Extinction. Oh, these are all the American titles. Why don't I just go back and read the poster? Kidnapped and the writers of Wreck. Okay, I like Wreck because this film is Spanish English. And it stars Rachel Nichols as Sarah, our pregnant protagonist. People might recognize her as the slutty girlfriend in the Amityville Horror remake. And Laura Herring as the woman. That's who she was. Okay. She starred opposite Naomi Watts in Mulholland Drive, David Lynch film. That's where I've seen her. She was also in The Punisher, the one with Thomas Jane. Okay, so I have seen her before. And yes, this movie follows all the same beats. Gets knocked at the door. Well, first, car accident, husband dies. You know, she has a friend who, she's a photographer. Doesn't really get much into the photography, but towards the end ends up using it almost to the same extent as this one does. I'll explain. Well, in this one, she uses her camera flash to for like a light, and in this one, she uses it to like beat the woman. But of course, so like the friend's gonna pick her up, but the friend in this one is her neighbor. She calls the cops, says there's this woman that's been hanging around. It's Christmas Eve. The woman gets in the house and she hides in the bathroom. And we get all the same stuff. The friend stops by, believes the woman is Sarah's mother, but then the mother comes over. I mean, most things happen the same. Spoilers. I'm going to say well, I want to give my opinion before I say spoilers. I can't rant on this film. I have to be honest, and I know this is gonna get me banished from the horror community because I'm defending not only a horror remake or a horror remake of a foreign film, a horror remake of an extreme horror film, one that people actually like. There were things that I enjoyed about this film. The acting wasn't bad. Laura Herring, at first, I wasn't buying it, but eventually, yeah, I did see her as creepy. Rachel Nichols did all right. You know, there were times where she did fine. You know, I don't think anybody did poorly. The The cinematography. I thought it was a good looking film. It was well shot, well lit. It was very smooth, solidly shot. Kind of reminded me of oh god, it's gonna bother me now, not being able to think of that guy's name. Mike Flanagan, who directed Gerald's Game and The Haunting of Hill House. It kind of had that kind of just well shot look to it. Not this one. Well, that one too, but the American one. I thought it was very well shot. Um, she got hearing damage from the accident, so she has a hearing aid, and at one point, either the battery dies or it malfunctions and she loses her hearing. So, like, she can't, when a crucial point comes, she can't tell what's going on. She's racing to fix the hearing aid. And so that was different. They did add some original things. The whole third act, I would compare this, and I know that, like, if I was in front of a crowd, I couldn't even look at people when I say this. The Hills Have Eyes remake. The first two acts of Hills Have Eyes. Very well shot, very well acted, very well executed, with great looking mutants, great kills, and great tension. Carbon copy of the original Hills Have Eyes. Third act, completely original. That's what this film did. Very, very, very much the same. Almost feels like a rushed. It does feel rushed, I will say that. It does almost feel like, like a Cliff Notes version of this. And yes, all the important scenes from this are not as impactful in this film. I will say that. It does not have the stupid zombie scene in this, which was my only complaint about this film. The one police guy who sort of goes zombie after being shot in the head with the riot control gun. And I enjoyed the third act. I mean, I know the French extreme films has a very kind of nihilistic path or sort of nihilistic endings. This one, I don't know if it's just because it's the American ending, but it has a happy ending. Which I will say, because the woman in both of these films, she's the kind of villain that you just want to see her get it, because she's so crazy and she is so determined, and the protagonist is so helpless that you can't help but want to see her get it. She doesn't get it as bad up until the very end. She doesn't get it as bad as she does in this film. But even in... Okay, I'm going to get into spoilers now. This will not be a rant. It's not a rant. I mean, I was impressed. It's not... Okay, it's not as good as the Hills Have Eyes remake. It's not as good as The Invisible Man, which... The Invisible Man, I had absolutely no fucking hope for, other than the fact it was directed by Lee Winnell. I saw it, completely blew my mind. Complete 180 on how I felt about it. This film, okay, I hadn't even seen a trailer. I just assumed, because at one point, closer to the beginning of the decade, I think it was going to be the same, like, producers or writers were going to do both Martyrs and Inside. Of course, that ended up not happening. But, um, I actually don't even remember all the details about it. But I know they said for both Inside and Martyrs they wanted to do a version with some hope in it. So, spoilers. Okay. The way the friend dies. In this, it's more brutal. Stabbed a bunch of times, pillow over his face, stabbed in the face a shit ton of times. In this, he's stabbed in the back in such a way that his nerves are damaged. He can't use his arms. She even picks up his arm and it goes limp. And she realizes his phone is ringing and it's his husband. And it has a picture of them on his screen, so she shows it to him as she covers his mouth and nose. You could either say so he can die peacefully, or, you know, he could die knowing he's never going to see his husband again. I lean towards the latter because she is playing this heavily psychotic character. The scene where Sarah kills her own mother, not as impactful as this, but I like the fact that while the back and forth with the friend, the mother, and the woman is going on, that's when her hearing aid is malfunctioning. So she can't hear what's going on. So I thought it led into that scene, on its own way. I thought that worked. They did trick us out because they did not do the, I guess, iconic scissor through the hand scene. She does stick her arm out to get the dresser away from the door. Very long scenes, which I will say that is one thing that kind of hurts this film, is because by the time you get to that point, you've noticed that they've pretty much copied almost everything from the original. So you're kind of waiting for the bullet points, so to speak. So it's like you're sitting there waiting, like, okay, so she's going to grab her hand. She's going to stick it to the wall with the scissors. That doesn't happen. She does grab her hand, but she gets away. Or how she kills, this time it's just two officers, like a veteran and a rookie. There's no suspect. There's no subplot with the burning cars that's in this one. If there is, I missed it. But, I thought it was a nice effect. He gets stabbed in the face. And then, like, he's on top of her. She stabs her repeatedly as blood's coming out of his sort of deep-ass a Dexter cut. She does still get burnt in the face. It's not with the aerosol can, like in this. She does threaten with the utility knife against her stomach because she's boiling oil to splash on her. That's how her face gets fucked up. But the whole third act of this film is original. I give it credit for that. Granted, there were things I didn't like about it. Because it's like, okay, she finally gets outside. She gets in the cop car. There's keys in it. And she's too busy talking on the radio to say who she is, where she is, what's going on. Not driving away. Because, of course, the woman is right there and busts the window out and gets in. And of course, they're fighting while driving. There's a wreck. She gets out, tries knocking on someone's door, doesn't answer. Then there's like a house that's under construction. It's got staging and plastic all over it. This is where I was like, don't do this. Please don't do this. I was like, you've impressed me so far. Please don't do this. She walks in. Okay, there's drop lights. You can tell there's still construction. There's hard hats hanging up. I know, I sound like shit. She gets up to a certain room, and there's this big-ass camera that she looks through, and it's pointed at her house. There's all these pictures of her, almost like a flip book of just her every day. The next room is like a nursery. If this house, how long has this house been under construction? To the point where they're not even noticing this woman living upstairs. And also, again, I'm not a woman. I don't know. I don't have kids, so I really don't know. But the closer you get to your due date or your, the 0 hour, so to speak, don't your contractions get closer and closer together and more frequent? Because that happens in this film. Her contractions keep getting more and more frequent to the point of just when you think she can get away, she starts having them and it slows her down. But then when she gets to this room, she starts looking around and piecing together that, oh, okay, this movie is so convenient. We just happened to land at her hideout. And I can look around and take it all in and I feel fine. But she does some quick thinking. She gets some sort of syringe with whatever. Juices her up with that. Doesn't do anything. End up in a backyard. They end up in a pool. There's a cover. And I thought for a couple times it did get me. I was thinking, okay, they are going to go through with it. Because I kept thinking, are they going to do the American happy ending? Or are they going to go all out and give the woman the baby? And I thought even if she gets the baby, it would be some sort of way where it's like she gives it to her. It's like she's going to. Because, like, the opening scene with her and her husband is talking about girl names. And before they decided that's what the crash is. But that's when we get the revelation that, oh, you took my baby, so I have to take yours because I was the other woman in the accident. Which, I mean, that's such a huge plot point that I didn't think they were going to change that anyway. One other thing. I thought she had a dog, that I don't know what happened to it, but I don't remember her killing it. So I don't remember a cat scene like in this one, so that's good. She says the girl's name, and I like this line. Sarah's like, it's a shitty name. She grabs a scalpel, cuts the pool cover, and they go under. And I'm guessing this is how they made this psycho fucking bitch a hero. Because they're trying to find an opening. They can't find an opening. She notices that Sarah is going down. She's drowning, which means the baby will drown. So it's like, I'll save the baby, even if that means I can't save myself. She grabs a scalpel, cuts a slit, pushes her towards it, and Sarah ends up living, and the woman ends up dying. And then Sarah has the fastest birth possible. Like, literally, she does like her, ooh. That's a poor imitation of a woman going in labor, but bear with me. And then, you know, you get like the establishing shot that it's still raining. And then all of a sudden the baby comes out. It's like, well, she could have done that like 12 times and just ran with the baby. It probably would have been more convenient. I know I'm probably leaving a lot out, but I mean, this movie for the most part is exactly the same as this. I would say this one is far more visceral and raw. This one definitely has more, like, the cinematography is cleaner and it does feel more fluent and well shot. It has its bloody moments, nothing like this. Yeah, they do make the woman out to be some sort of hero at the end. I can't say I hate the movie. I can't even say I disliked the movie. I mean, I thought of it the same way as I think of The Hills Have Eyes remake, just not as good as that, not near as good as that. Because they copied so much from this and gave it a completely original third act. From what I've seen and heard about Martyrs, how that's shot for shot, and they still fucked that up, I would say this remake isn't that bad. I mean, I can defend it. Granted, this is still infinitely better. This went more... It took out some of the extremity, because the baby's not getting cut out of her stomach. It went more towards, like, the psychological stalker route. So, I mean, if you want... if you want your extreme horror, you can watch this. If you want your single white female, but on Christmas with a baby, you can watch this. It's not near as terrible as I thought it was going to be. At all. It's not great. It's not wonderful. But I would say it's okay. Kind of forgettable, but not in like a bad way. I mean, bottom line, I can say the Spanish-American remake of the French film Inside was decent. I can say that. For all the reasons I said. The cinematography, the acting, the little changes they made, the whole third act. I can say it was decent. It wasn't garbage. It wasn't trash. It wasn't a dumpster fire. I know the internet will crucify me for that. Probably get banned from YouTube, but I thought the remake of Inside was decent. I have to give it credit, but thank you for watching.